Ever feel like you're speaking a totally different language in social situations? Like you're trying to find a real, genuine connection, but all you're getting is static? Well, let's get into it. Today, we're going to explore why intellectually gifted or highly sensitive people can find modern relationships, well, pretty challenging. This quote right here, it just hits the nail on the head. That feeling of being totally drained by superficial chat, that's not some kind of character flaw. Nope. It's actually a sign that your mind is wired for something much, much deeper. So let's tackle this first big hurdle, what we're calling the small talk problem. If you've ever felt like nobody really gets you or that you have very few true friends, especially in those big, noisy social settings, trust me, you are not alone in this.
Yeah, that feeling of being on the outside looking in, that's not a personal failure. It is an incredibly common experience for people whose brains are just programmed to process the world with a little more intensity, a little more complexity. And this brings us to a really crucial shift in thinking. This isn't about trying to fix something that's broken. It's about understanding that you're just running on a different operating system. And it's a perfectly valid one. Let's see how that actually plays out.
Okay, check this out. I love this comparison because it's so true. The world might slap a label on you like antisocial, when what's really happening is you're just seeking depth. Or they might call you too serious, when all you're doing is valuing real, authentic connection over just putting on a show. It perfectly shows the gap between how things look and how they really are. All right, let's dig into the first of three big reasons why this all happens. It's something called high social sensitivity. And this is all about picking up on all the little things that most people just completely miss. So the important thing to get here is that this isn't just about being emotional. It's like you have a heightened perception. You're processing all that nonverbal data, the tiny shifts in someone's tone, the microexpressions, the whole emotional temperature of a room, but you're doing it in high definition. And here's what that actually looks like. It's when you hear that tiny little hesitation in a friend's voice and you just know they're not okay, even when they're saying, "I'm fine." It's the reason you feel completely wiped out after a party, because you've basically been processing everyone's emotional baggage all night. You're like a human barometer for social vibes. Okay, on to our second key idea, which really explains the why behind your social choices. It's a preference for quality over ritual. See, it's not about avoiding people. It's about searching for a very specific kind of connection. What this really means is you don't get your energy from interactions that are just for show, the ones you do out of obligation. You crave conversations with real substance, where you can actually explore ideas, be a little vulnerable, and connect on a level that feels authentic. Social stuff without that meaningful core, it just feels empty. And this just says it all, right? For you, connection is all about depth, not how long it lasts. That single, intense 1-hour chat over coffee can fill your social battery way more than a whole 3-hour party ever could. It's all about the quality of the signal, not the volume of the noise. And that brings us to our third and final reason. And this one is all about the way your brain actually works. It's called multidimensional thinking. This explains why even a super simple conversation can feel incredibly complex inside your head. So when someone says something simple to you, your mind isn't just hearing the words. Oh no. It is simultaneously analyzing the subtext, connecting it to 10 other things they've said, thinking about the future implications, and exploring 5 different abstract ideas that just popped into your head all at the same time. Let me put it another way. Think about it like this. Most social interactions are pretty straightforward. They're like a game of checkers. The moves are direct, predictable, kinda one-dimensional. But your mind? Yeah, it's over here playing 3D chess. You're thinking about layers of strategy and motivation and all these potential outcomes that for most people aren't even on the board. So it's no wonder that trying to play a simple game of checkers can feel a little boring. So, what happens when we put all 3 of these things together? Well, you get a relational experience that we can only describe as connection in high definition. It's just more intense, more detailed, and it requires a much, much stronger signal to feel right. Let's just boil it down one last time. High social sensitivity, it means you're taking in way more social and emotional data. You just feel more. Quality over ritual, it means you have a higher bar for what a real connection is. You seek more. And multidimensional thinking, it means you're processing everything with way more complexity. You see more. And here's the main takeaway. Knowing all this isn't an excuse to just hide from the world. It's an explanation. And that is so empowering.
It gives you permission to go find the kinds of connections that actually feed your soul. To suggest that one-on-one coffee instead of the huge group dinner. It's about finding your people and finding your pace. And that leaves us with one final thought. Our world today is all about speed, efficiency, and huge networks. It's built for bandwidth. So the real challenge for all of us, but especially for those of you wired this way, is this. How do we consciously carve out the time and the space for real depth? Something to think about.